the largest castle in Westeros, a settlement of several houses, most of them already extinct. Today let's visit one of the most important fortresses in the Seven Kingdoms. Witness and location of several historic battles. If you want to know everything about this place, stay till the end of the video. But first, don't forget to subscribe, activate the bell, and share.
Harrenhal is located in the Riverlands. The region is delimited to the east by the Vale of Arryn, to the southeast by the Crownlands, to the south by the Reach, and to the west by Westerlands. It is the geographic center of Westeros, close to the Trident, the most important river in the continent, and also the nearest to the capital King's Landing. The castle is built on the north shore of the lake named Ice Gods, in which center there is a small island named the Isle of Faces. Its location is strategic due to the fact that it is only a few miles away from the crossroads, the point where three main roads are connected. From south to north is the King's Road, from the crossroads to west is the River Road, and from the crossroads to the east is the High Road. It is located 300 miles away from King's Landing.
Originally was the seat of House Hoare, kings of the Isles and the Rivers. Yes, that is correct, King of the Isles and Rivers. The original kingdom included the Iron Islands. Harren the Black built Harrenhal along the God's Eye as a monument to himself, intending it to be the greatest of all castles in Westeros and for it to dwarf any other. The construction of Harren's dream took 40 years. Upon its completion, Harren boasted that his new fortress was impregnable. However, he did not account for Aegon the Targaryen and his dragons invading Westeros. On the day Harren took up residence, Aegon came ashore at what would become King's Landing. Aegon flew his dragon Balerion, the Black Dread, above the high walls and forbidding towers and then roasted Harren alive in the tallest of the towers, now known as Kingspire. Harren and all his line perished in the burning of Harrenhal. Due to the extreme heat of dragon flame, the castle took on a charred, melted appearance. Since Aegon's conquest, the castle has become a white elephant. It is too big to garrison effectively and too expensive to maintain. Harren allegedly mixed human blood into the mortar for the stonework. Some believe that the castle is cursed and haunted due to Harren's hubris and the horrors that have occurred within the castle's walls, with the early deaths of its many rulers as proof. The curse is thought to prevent any lord from holding Harrenhal indefinitely. King Aegon first granted Harrenhal to Quentyn Corlys, although the House Tully of Riverrun was named Lord Paramount of the Trident and Riverlands. House Corlys died out during the reign of King Aenys I, however, when Lord Gargan the Guest was slain during Harren the Red's rebellion. Lord Lucas Harroway succeeded Gargan as Lord of Harrenhal, and House Harroway hoped to defeat Prince Aegon Targaryen in the battle beneath the God's Eye. The Harroways of Harrenhal and Lord Harroway's town were extinguished by King Maegor I in 44 after the conquest, however. It began to be said that the castle was cursed. Esser Walton Towers was named the new Lord of Harrenhal after winning a melee announced by Maegor, though he died of his wounds within 2 weeks of the event. Jordan Towers received Harrenhal, though not all of the lands formerly belonging to House Harroway, as Lord Harroway's town was granted to Lord Alton Butterwell and the rest of the Harroway holdings to Lord Darnold Derry. House Towers became extinct when Lord Maegor Towers died without heirs in 61 after the conquest. Since the sickly and impoverished Lord Maegor only utilized one of Harrenhal's 5 towers, the Tower of Dread,
King Jaehaerys I settled his widowed sister, Queen Rhaenyra Targaryen in Harrenhal. Rhaenyra, who lived in the widow's tower, became friends with poor Maegor, and she took care of his household after their lord's passing. After Rhaenyra died at Harrenhal in 73 after the conquest, the king had her remains burned and interred in the castle. King Jaehaerys I granted Harrenhal to Aeser by Strong after Rhaenyra's death. The Great Council of the year 101 AC was hosted by House Strong of Harrenhal. In this council, Prince Viserys was chosen as the king's successor. During the reign of King Viserys I, the House Strong was headed by Lord Lionel, a member of the Royal Council as Maester of Edicts. His eldest son Aeser Harwin broke bones, and was said to be the strongest man in the Seven Kingdoms in his days. He was described as being massive and redoubled, and his second son Larys, the clubfoot, because one of his feet were twisted at birth, so he dragged it with a limp. Lord Lionel was the hand of the king for over a decade after Aeser Otto Hightower was discharged. It was rumored that Princess Rhaenyra's children, Jaehaerys, Lucerys, and Joffrey were actually her grandchildren, that is, children of her heir, Aeser Harwin, in those days, commander of the City Watch in King's Landing. Lord Lionel and Aeser Harwin died in a fire at Harrenhal in 120 after the conquest. It was blamed on the curse of Harrenhal, although non-mystical suspects included Prince Daemon Targaryen, Lord Corlys Velaryon, Lionel's younger son Larys Strong, and even King Viserys I. Early in the Dance of the Dragons, Aeser Simon Strong surrendered the castle to Prince Daemon Targaryen during his assault on Harrenhal. Due to its strategic location, Daemon used it as a base for the Blacks to launch attacks in the nearby area. Prince Aemond and Aeser Criston Cole led an army of Greens to retake the great castle but found it abandoned by the Blacks when they arrived. Aemond killed Simon and his kin. During the battle by the lakeshore, Criston led his soldiers south along the God's Eye. Aemond rode Bogger and ravaged the riverlands, including burning all wooden structures in Harrenhal. Daemon and Aemond later fought in the battle above the God's Eye, a duel that killed both princes and their dragons, Caraxes and Bogger, although Daemon's body was never found. Aemond's body was found at the bottom of the lake, still tied to the chair and with Dark Sister, Daemon's Valyrian steel sword stabbed in the eye. Then Lord Larys Strong was executed, ending House Strong. King Aegon III gave the ruined castle to Aeser Lucas Lothston in 151 after the conquest. The bastard of Harrenhal was defeated by Aeser Arlen of Pennytree in a melee in 193 after the conquest. Manfred Lothston was involved in the First Blackfyre Rebellion in 196 after the conquest, and Lady Danelle Lothston helped to suppress the Second Blackfyre Rebellion with the might of Harrenhal in 212 after the conquest. House Lothston was cast down during the reign of King Maekar I Targaryen, 221 to 233 after the conquest. However, Danelle descended into madness. House Went, originally knights sworn to Harrenhal, became lords of the castle for their part in defeating the Lothstons. Lord Walter Went hosted a great tourney at Harrenhal in 281 after the conquest. The famous tournament resulted in the crowning of Rhaegar Targaryen, Prince of Dragonstone, as its champion. Aeser Jaime Lannister was named to the Kingsguard of Aerys II during the tourney. Prior to the outbreak of Robert's Rebellion, Rhaegar abducted Lyanna Stark a few miles away from Harrenhal. When war breaks out after the death of King Robert I Baratheon, Lady Shella Went yields Harrenhal to Lord Tywin Lannister and his army, who held the castle during a period of the War of the Five Kings. Then he leaves to save King's Landing from Lord Stannis Baratheon, leaving the castle empty, so Lord Roose Bolton and his army held it for a while right before the Red Wedding. Queen Cersei Lannister grants the castle to Janos Slynt, commander of the City Watch of King's Landing, in return for his service against Lord Eddard Stark, but he never got to hold the castle. After the Battle of Blackwater, King Joffrey Baratheon grants the castle to Lord Petyr Baelish in regard to the alliance he arranged with the House Tyrell and their vassals, to defeat Lord Stannis. Even though he never traveled to take possession of the castle, he surely sent his own people to it. According to a semi-canon source, Harrenhal is immensely strong. The castle has 5 towers of dizzying size, with equally monstrous curtain walls. The walls are incredibly thick and its rooms are built on a scale that would be more comfortable for giants than humans. Harrenhal has the largest chamber in Westeros, even larger than the Red Keep's throne room. The crown chose it as the location of the Great Council of 101 after the conquest because it did not know how many would attend, and wanted a hall for at least 500 lords and their entourages. More than 1,000 came. The castle covers 3 times as much ground as Winterfell and its buildings are so much larger that they can scarcely be compared. Its stables can house 1,000 horses, its God's Wood covers 20 acres, and its kitchens are as large as Winterfell's Great Hall. However, much of Harrenhal has far gone into decay. The Wents use only the lower thirds of 2 of the 5 towers, letting the rest go to ruin, and many places in the castle have not been entered in decades. Bats infest the tops of some of the towers. Harrenhal is built on a gigantic scale. Its colossal curtain walls are sheer and high as mountain cliffs, while atop the battlements the wood and iron scorpions seem as small as their namesakes when seen from the ground. Harrenhal's gatehouse is as large as Winterfell's Great Keep, and its stone is discolored and fissured. From outside the gatehouse, only the tops of 5 immense towers can be seen because the height of the walls obscures the view of them. Harrenhal's walls and towers are made of black stone. Of the castle's 5 towers, the shortest is half again as high as the tallest one in Winterfell. Yet none of the towers are proper, being bent, lumped, and cracked from the melting of the stone during the burning of Harrenhal by Valerian, the dragon of King Aegon I, 3 centuries earlier. Their original names were lost with the death of Harren the Black. The 5 towers. Tower of Dread is near the Middle Bailey and the Mews. Widow's Tower connects to the Kingspire Tower via a stone bridge. Underneath there is a great cell that is used to keep prisoners. Wailing Tower contains storerooms on the ground floor and cavernous vaults beneath. Tower of Ghosts is near the postern gate and the ruined sept. Kingspire Tower contains the Castellan's chambers. It connects to the Widow's Tower via a stone bridge. Tell me in the comments what you think about this colossal castle and its course. If you want to support the channel and help me to improve my equipment in order to make higher quality videos, go to my Patreon.